Good evening and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Janet Rogalski, and I have the pleasure of sharing the bima with Dr. Andrew Pelletier and having Bob Ray join us for the music. Our opening song is Sholom Aleichem on page 142. I'd like to invite Alice Applebaum to come for lighting of the candles, which you'll find on page 120 and 121.
Oops. Okay. There we go. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Oh, Yom Tov. You're right. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat and Yom Tov.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu leha
On page 138, you'll find Lecha Dodi. Please turn to page 263 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemer haba B'alma devorach edute v'hamlich machute B'chayechon u'vyomechon U'chayed kol bet Yisrael Bagala, bagala U'vizman kariv V'himeru, Amen. Yehi shemer haba mevarach Le'alam hulal mehamaya Yitzbarach, Yitzbarach V'yishtabach V'yitzpah, v'yitzromah, v'yitnaseh V'yitadal, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal Shemer kudesha v'richu Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata Tushmekata v'nechemata Damiran v'alma v'yimeru, Amen.
Please rise for the Baruch Hu, which you'll find on page 264.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach
proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky, sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. On the next page, Avahat Olam.
Avat olam, Beit
Please be seated. The Via Haftah is on page 268.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובחמך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם לכל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read together, "You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohim Emet." On the next page, we'll read responsively. "We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. When will redemption come? Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. On the next page is Mi Chamocha.
כהים לבני משה ומרים, זה לי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Israel.
We read together, "Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor?" Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. "This is our God," they cried. "Adonai will reign forever and ever." Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a strand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. Please rise for the tefillah.
Adonai, Savatai Tiftach, Ufi Agiti Hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Gehula Livnei V'nem, Leman Shemo Be'ava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Hasrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mechalkel Chaim b'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol b'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim v'Rofech Olim, U'matir Asurim, U'mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamoch Amar Gevurot, U'midlo Melach, Melech Memit, U'mchayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'neheman L'chayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We read together on the top of page 278, Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel who sanctifies may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. I'm reading at the top of page 281. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. Our God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha ne'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamecha Tasim Leolam Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom V'tov לברך את עמך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך.
We read together in the middle of the page. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael, Bashalom. We've reached the part in our service where we think of all of those in need of healing, mind, body, spirit, either in our congregation, in our community, in our world, or in your personal life. If you have a name you'd like to share, please feel free to do so now. We sing the prayer for healing on page 371, Damisha Berach.
those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say, Amen.
We take a moment for silent reflection. I looked on 2 calendars and I couldn't find it. What couldn't I find? Well, I specifically couldn't find the Torah portion that was supposed to be for this week. Normally, on most Hebrew calendars, it's listed. And usually when I start to think about doing a devar, I think it's a good starting point, so I look. I find the Torah portion, I see what there is, I think about what a jumping off point might be, and I go. I start my research. Nope, not this time. So I did what anyone would do. I consulted Cantor Rower, who explained that there actually is a Torah portion, but it doesn't directly follow what was last week. Nope, on this day, it's one of the days called Kol HaAmid. Then I consulted Rabbi Google, where I learned that Kol HaAmid literally means the weekdays of the holiday, which happens both at Sukkot and at Passover. For some Jews, the first day or two of each of those holidays, and then the last day, is very much like a Shabbat, with all the prohibitions that people who strictly follow those guidelines would follow. In the middle days of those 2 holidays, which are in fact a number of days long, that is Kol HaAmod. The days are just like any other weekdays. As a matter of fact, in some places, many people think of those as days for fun and games. Families take holidays. As for the Torah portion, the flow of Ecclesiastes is interrupted. There's a return to Exodus, specifically Exodus 33, verse 12 to 34, and verse 34 to 26, which has as its focus Moses' intense desire to know God's essence and whether God will be with the Hebrew people as they continue their journey from Egypt. It is also a time shortly after the incident where the people of Egypt who left Egypt were beginning to have doubts while Moses was up on Mount Sinai, and that's when they built that golden calf. Moses, when he came down, was pretty angry. God was really angry, and he was enough angry that he withdrew God's presence from the people. The decision to leave Egypt was a very difficult one. The lives of the people, the Hebrew people, as hard as it was, which we recently read about in the Haggadah, was very difficult. When Pharaoh, or probably really Pharaoh's officials, heard rumors that there was going to be a talk of leaving, the tasks they were assigned were even more onerous. The Hebrew word for Egypt is Mitzrayim, which translates a narrow place. Slavery was certainly a narrow place, with constraints on someone's physical, spiritual, and emotional life. More than half of the Hebrews chose to stay enslaved in Egypt because, as hard as life was, it was easier for them to stay with something they knew rather than travel into the unknown. We have probably all been in a narrow place and have had to make a decision about choices. Each choice gives us an opportunity to liberate ourselves from things that hold us back. According to Rebecca De Palma, quoted in Haggadot.com, quote, "The whole world is a narrow bridge, and the most important thing is not to be afraid to move forward. During the height of the pandemic, of course, we all lived in a very narrow place." Dayenu, it would have been enough, plays a significant part in our Seder. As we move forward from the narrow place, we ought to think of Dayenu. How many times do we forget to pause to notice where we are exactly now and where we ought to be? We don't forget the wonders and miracles in our lives. We shouldn't. If we are too impatient for other things to come, we might miss the whole point of life. We can seek a reason to be grateful, a reason to say Dayenu. The narrow place can be habits and attitudes that keep us from rising to our fullest potential. What to do? Maybe ask for help. Even Moses needed help. Speaking again about Moses, the portion offers an interesting back and forth where Moses asks who will lead the people, what does God really want of Moses, and what would God do to help? I think it's pretty gutsy of Moses actually to bargain with God. That's pretty gutsy. According to some of the commentary for the portion from the Jewish Study Bible, it's some interesting comments. The portion with some comments. Moses said to God, "See, you say to me, lead this people forward, but you have not made known to me whom you will send with me. Further, you have said, I have singled you out by name, and you have indeed gained my favor. Now I have truly gained your favor. Pray let me know your ways, that I may know you and continue in your favor. Consider, too, this nation is your people. How are you, God, going to deal with people with human frailties and failures?" And he said, "I will go in the lead and will lighten your burden." Actually, what he was saying is, I'll personally go. I'm not going to send the angel I'd planned to go. I will go. And it really is a concession to Moses. And he said to him, "You go in the lead and do not make us leave this place. For how shall it be known that your people have gained your favor unless you go with us, so that we may be distinguished, your people and I, from every other people on the face of the earth? Even though God favors Moses, God really hadn't sort of said that he favored the Hebrew people very much, and Moses wanted to make sure that was going to happen. And God said to Moses, I will also do this thing that you have asked, for you have truly gained my favor, and I have singled you out by name. He said, he being Moses, oh, let me behold your presence. This is really an emboldened move by Moses. And he, God, answered, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim before you the name God, and the grace that I grant and the compassion that I show. In other words, I'll grant grace to whom I'll grant grace, and I'll grant compassion to whom I will grant compassion. In other words, I'm still in charge. But, he said, you cannot see my face, for man may not see me and live. And God said, see, there is a place near me. Station yourself on the rock, and as my presence passes by, I'll put you in the cleft of the rock and shield you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take my hand, and you will see my back, but my face you will not see. I have to say, irreverent as it may seem, as I was reading this a number of times, I couldn't help keeping the voices of Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner out of my mind. I can just see this as a comedy sketch between the two of them. As I said, kind of irreverent. Anyway, putting all that aside, this passage and the ones that follow tells us that God's core characteristics are rooted in generous mercy and loyal love. According to Rabbi Joe Rook's Rapport, quote, this vision is one of the most unabashedly human representations of God as can be found anywhere in the Bible. God has a face which Moses cannot see. God has a hand which protects Moses until the moment God's shining presence has passed by. And God has a back which Moses glimpses momentarily. Excuse me, though we have precious little description of what this vision of God's behind looks like. Moses will be privileged to see something no other human has seen. Yet even Moses will not see or know what there is to know. In our dealings with people, even those we know well, do we really know all there is to know? Should we? Passover is a time of freedom. While the Israelites are freed from slavery, the purpose of that freedom is achieved only at Mount Sinai, when they are free to observe those commandments. Maybe that's the main idea for us. Freedom from is necessary, and we wish that for those like the people in Ukraine and elsewhere who are not truly free from oppression. But maybe freed and freedom to fill in the blank with whatever you'd like is the real point. Chag Pesach Sameach, Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to call on Janine Hutner, our president, for some announcements.
The flowers on the bima are in loving memory of Chuck Kaminsky from Jeff and Tom Kaminsky and family. We've got a busy April coming up. This coming Wednesday morning, April 12th at 10:30 a.m. is Paschal services in the chapel led by Dr. Andy Pelletier. Please help us have a minyan, okay? So consider coming. Next Wednesday on the 12th, the office is closed also. Next Friday, April 14th, at between 5 and 6 o'clock, there will be a pre-oneg for Dr. Sam Adler's special birthday. Reservations are needed. Please email or, I think it's Marcy, you can check the Temple Bulletin or call for your reservations. At 6 o'clock, there will be a Shabbat service. Also, we have Rabbi Gibson joining us at the end of the month. There will be coffee and clergy on Friday, April 28th at 8:30 a.m. At 10:30 a.m. Parsha and prayer Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and picnic in the park on Saturday at 12:30. It'll be at Secor Park, and the lunch is provided. There will be a lunch and learn on Sunday, April 30th at noon. Please, oh please, call and make your reservations. And please join us for Kiddush in the hallway where we have the opportunity to greet one another. Shabbat Shalom.
If I may add one more. Also Sunday, April 23rd at 3 in the sanctuary is our last concert of the year. We're welcoming back piano soloists Nana Baraya and Malek Halse, who played in the fall. They'll be doing an all Beethoven concert. So Sunday, April 23rd, 3 o'clock.
If you will please rise, turning to page 586 for the Aleinu. Please be seated. Sorry, I lost my page. Okay. The ones we love shine for us in the stars, in the glow of the moon, in the sun each time it rises. The ones we love shine in us too, in the good things we do for the world and each other, in memories which are never lost. They are in our hearts forever. At this sacred time, we think of those who have recently passed: Thomas Friedman, Ann Kahn, Gladys Levitt, and Madeline, formerly known as Madge, Levinson. We add to at this time those names whose yahrzeits occur this week, as we now remember Dayton H. Ballas, Dr. Herman Bamberger, Phyllis Bauer, Mickey Behrman, Isidore Berkowitz, Celia Y. Brown, Sam Casey, Regina Constein, Mark H. Edelstein, Janine Gilbert, Lena Green, Dr. Marvin C. Green, Frank S. Green, Meyer Greenfield, Ruth G. Hume, Bert Klein, Eleanor Friedlander Levy, Bertha Liebenthal, Stephen S. Mossbacher, Brenda S. Murphy, Eileen Pelletier, Pearl Pettigene, Eugene H. Pincus, Cecile Prager, Margaret Ellen Raskin, Dr. Herbert Raskin, Louis R. Romanoff, Benjamin Siegel, Rabbi Alan Sokobin, Lester M. Steiner, Florence R. Thal, Joan Z. Gray. Please turn to page 598 where you'll find the cottage. Yitkadal v'yishkadash shemei rabbah, Ba'alma devarak devute v'yamlich malchute, B'chaye chom v'yamei Uchaye dekol beit Yisrael, Ba'al v'zman karim v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rab mevarak le'olam u'me'el maya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitboar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit halev v'yit halal shemei dekudusha v'rechu. La'elam min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram v'yoma v'imru, amen. Yehei shalom araba mishamayim v'chayim, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Yehei shalom v'imruav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nurtured over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt, the neglect. Then let the sun come out and fill the sky with rainbows. Let the warmth of the sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly, so that we can see beyond labels, beyond accents, gender, or skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. And let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all the people as our neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains teach our hearts to reach upward to heaven. Amen.
Amen.
By Rabbi Kushner. Our closing song is Adir Hu on page 666.
God of might, God of right, we give all glory. Thine all praise in these days, as in ages holy. When we hear year by year freedom's wondrous story, thou as erst when thou first made the proclamation, warning loud every proud, every tyrant nation, we thy fame still proclaim, bowed in adoration. Be with all who
you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be with you, Andy. Chag Sameach, Pesach, Shabbat Shalom. Please join us in the lobby for Kiddush.
Shabbat Shalom.